Music in the hospital means musicians acting in hospitals and healthcare establishments through the European Association for Music in the Hospital.
Une formation de musicien.
Musician training. University diploma for musicians acting in hospitals. Marc Bloch University, Strasbourg.
Des formations.
Ongoing caregiver training organised by the Training Centre for Musicians acting in hospitals and the Vocational Training Department of Marc Bloch University, Strasbourg. Publications. Journals of Music in the Hospital.
De la recherche.
Research. European Summer Schools. An exhibition of photos by Christophe Meyer. Video documentaries to publicise the project. A website, www.musims.fr.
I'd like to talk to you about the Music in the Hospital project, as when I was manager of the Sélestat Hospital, I worked with the CFMI and I was able to see the wards, especially in geriatrics and pediatrics.
Et j'ai donc pu voir sur le terrain, dans les services de soins, que ce soit notamment de gériatrie ou de la pédiatrie,
the possibilities offered by music acted in the hospital. I say music acted in the hospital as it went beyond the actual playing, and there was a real relationship formed there.
C'est instauré ou s'instaure une vraie relation.
Now, chance would have it that my career has taken me to Strasbourg, to the teaching hospital. And I'm lucky enough to be in charge of an important part of the hospital, the geriatric unit in the Robertso, just outside the centre of the city. I'm extremely keen to continue and develop the policy of humanising the treatment of geriatric patients. And I think that in this context, with the desire to humanise life in the geriatric unit, music, or the Music in the Hospital project, is an extremely worthwhile experience.
Eh bien, la musique ou le projet musique à l'hôpital a tout son sens et tout son intérêt.
The first initiative in introducing music in the hospital was taken by the pediatric team with the firm support and encouragement of Dr. Schneebelen, the head of the unit. The music project had an immediate impact, providing a fresh focus and dynamic for the teams and for the relationship between the caregivers and the medical staff. And it was also a very strong binding factor with the families. The experiment didn't stop there, as the idea soon spread to other departments, and the Music in the Hospital scheme has now been introduced in the maternity department. And also for long-stay geriatric patients. It's pretty remarkable. The staff greatly appreciate it, and every time it creates a new element in each team's approach to caring for their patients.
Un élément nouveau dans l'approche de soins de toutes ces équipes.
J'ai descendu dans mon jardin, j'ai descendu dans mon jardin pour y cueillir des romarins. Gentil coquelicot, mesdames, gentil coquelicot nouveau, n'en avez pas cueilli trop.
The CFMI trains students at the IFSI nursing school right from the start of their curriculum, which means they learn about subjects other than those based purely on patient treatment as such.
D'autres sujets que les sujets de soins à proprement parler.
The CFMI also works in the departments I mentioned before, pediatrics, maternity, long stay, to train staff and introduce them to this approach.
joli bracelet, à tes pieds se balance couleur, couleur, café, café, que j'aime ta couleur, café, couleur, café, café, que j'aime ta couleur, café. C'est quand même fou l'effet que ça fait.
Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé?
What happened?
A windswept field of wheat.
Vous avez entendu ça?
Did you hear that?
I felt more like I was in a granary, with old stuff working in the straw, with the old buttons and grandmother's sewing box or toolbox.
Caisse à outils de couture de la grand-mère.
I felt a wave. The wave goes past and rolls over the pebbles.
Est-ce qu'une de vos trois? Est-ce que vous étiez
Were you three in the dining room in the retirement home with the TV?
de la maison des retraites avec la télé?
Oh no,
Vous étiez ailleurs?
All three of you were somewhere else.
Toutes les trois.
Now, just answer this question.
Maintenant, répondez-moi une question. Qu'est-ce qu'ils veulent?
What do the residents here want? What's their prime desire?
Ces résidents.
to be somewhere else.
Être ailleurs, n'est-ce pas?
Be somewhere
Pouvoir
else,
être
right.
ailleurs aussi.
Be able to be somewhere else also. And so you see with these little sounds that you can have two. You can allow these residents to find themselves elsewhere from time to time, like your colleagues.
Comme vos collègues. Chacun
There's
a
an
son
elsewhere for
ailleurs.
everyone, between the
Entre la
waves,
vache,
the sea,
les
the
vagues, la
wheat
mer ou
field.
le grenier,
Because
ou les
there isn't
choses
any...
bleues. Parce qu'il y en a
Music
pas
gives
dans
what
la
it
musique, elle
promises.
raconte pas des histoires.
La musique est un des
Music
vecteurs
is one of the
que
vectors,
nous
and it's
avons
something we've
rendu compte,
realized since the CFMI started
lorsque
coming to the
FMI intervient au
CDRS.
CDRS, un vecteur de contact.
It's a vector for
d'échange
contacts and for extraordinary exchanges between elderly people and the healthcare staff.
Et
It's a way for the two
justement,
sides
c'est
to
un
open up to
moyen
each other, a different form of otherness, of consideration, of
une autre
contact,
forme d'altérité, de considération.
of building relationships, and which, we realized, could lead to a therapeutic notion in certain cases for helping residents cope with agitation, nervousness, and malaise.
L'agitation de mal-être de nos résidents.
La musique à l'hôpital
Music in the hospital undeniably helps improve
permet
healthcare standards.
d'améliorer la qualité des soins. C'est peut-être un peu paradoxal.
It's perhaps a bit paradoxical, as basically there seems to be little connection between care and music. But I think music helps make a stay in a hospital, which is a somewhat special stay, all the same, that much more like normal life, with normal between inverted commas.
est quand même un séjour très particulier.
La chanson de nuit et le lièvre fuit sans un bruit. Doucement, doucement, à pas de velours.
Lorsque nous avons été sollicités,
When we were asked a year or so ago if we'd agree to be a training ground for musicians acting in hospitals, it was the first we'd heard about it.
nous avons été séduits.
We found the project very appealing, and we were already just about convinced it'd turn out to be interesting for
Chose
us.
d'intéressant pour notre établissement.
And it's true that the more the musicians came and played, when we saw the reactions of our residents, we were increasingly happy with the results.
Nous étions de plus en plus convaincus.
Le directeur que je suis
As the general manager, I obviously have to keep a close eye on everything that happens outside the normal confines of the institution, especially in the hospital where everything's very ordered and where there are protocols for everything and where we're inundated with inquiries and procedures.
procédure, il est clair que
It's clear that music in the hospital, like any other art form, when it's brought into our institutions, brings a bit of human warmth between the walls, a bit of life, and in that way it contributes to the culture of the hospital. I don't think that there's culture on the one hand and the hospital on the other. There's a hospital with its standards and its staff, which forms a culture in itself.
forme une culture. Simplement, comme toute culture, elle a besoin
Like any other culture, It constantly needs enriching, and I think that having musicians there is, in some of the departments, an enrichment, an enhancement of the hospital culture, and therefore a benefit for the people, the patients, who are lucky enough to meet these musicians, these young musicians.
I got the thing.
It's easy to see that when there's music here, the faces light up, and the place is never better than when the faces of the people staying there radiate happiness. And on top of that, when it involves very old people, some of whom are very ill, you could say that the patients sort of come back to life, or become more full of life than a lot of ordinary people at moments like that.
Où ils sont plus vivants qu'un certain nombre de vivants dans ces moments-là. Moi, je crois qu'il y a.
I think that with the musicians and in the music that's played in certain departments, there's a sort of extra part of life, whether it's for elderly people, children, or the staff. We move into a new dimension, a dimension that's possibly more metaphysical, more spiritual in the widest sense of the term.
Plus spirituel au sens large du terme.
And I think that that's extremely important, and that people need it. On both sides, the staff and the patients.
Et les personnes que l'on accueille.